Hello everyone, Alex RC Freak here, coming at you with another video, upgrade video. This is the Extra Speed Scx10 2 aluminum axle housings. They feel pretty heavy. From what I'm understanding, they're about 4.4 ounces or 125 grams. So, yeah, they're pretty nicely built. I'm doing an install. They say you have to sand inside here. Let me cut one of these open for you. Now I'm just going to do an install on one of these axles because they're the same thing for the front. The only thing, I already took off the axles. The only thing different is you got the C-hub and you got the steering knuckle. So that he can have steering. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. So anyway, here's the axle. Very nice. The paint is pretty nice. It's not the highest quality of paint. But the axle, the black part of it, the red diff cup, you know. Okay, that fits in there nice and tight. It's this cast aluminum is what it is. It's not like, you know, nice machined aluminum. It's like cast aluminum. But it looks to be like it's made pretty nicely. I haven't tore apart my other axle yet. I want to show you something that I did. I got RC 4-wheel drive. I got the wrong inside diameter thread. It's a 3mm thread is what I got. These need a 4mm thread. So if you want to change out the rod ends with better quality rod ends than the junky ass, you know, axle ones, I put these metal ball ends in. But they're still crap. They have plastic flexes too much. It's just garbage. So these ones, they feel nice and tight. They're better plastic. I just drilled them out with a 1/8 drill bit. You know, very slow with my impact driver here. You can use a drill too. I just drilled them out, put them in there. You do have to cut these ones that are offset. You have to cut them a little bit, so a little bit shorter. You know, here's a piece, how much I had to cut off the end of it. So, just to show you. But yeah, these are the links. They're the offset upper and then lower one that go on the axle here are the bent. So I got 2 of those, so that way they sit like this in the truck. So that's about how they're gonna sit. So yeah, and these ones feel a lot better. Now keep in mind, these are a little bit smaller of a lip. Right there, they don't fully go flush, which I wish they kind of did. I kind of liked it. It looked a little better in my opinion, but I like how these do the axle logo right there. I think that's kind of neat, like an added detail feature, but the plastic's just trash. So I guess those are, you know, extras for another project. But anyway, back onto the axle. This is the diff cup or cover, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's pretty nice. Set that right here. Here's the diff housing itself. Pretty nice. Now, I'm not going to do a video where I install it into the rig because that's pretty straightforward. I'm sure there's lots of videos out there. Another reason why I got this aluminum axle is it adds weight down low where you want it. I crawled it for the first time on my Scx10 2, and honestly, so far, I think the Traxxas TRX4 is a way, way better crawler. That's my opinion. I'm serious. That's my opinion. I think it's a better crawler all the way around. It doesn't have as much torque steer as the Scx10 2. I'm running a 3800 kV full censored Castle Mamba X system in there. Have everything turned way down on the power. Throttle response is turned way down. And it still has lots of torque steer. The stock shocks on it are garbage, in my opinion. But yeah, so I may have to do some tweaks there, or I just might get rid of the rig. I don't know. But here's the axle. We're going to get started here. So I'll set this aside. This is the plastic one. What you're going to want to do is take these. You're going to need the 1.5mm. Just take this, loosen these little hexes off right here. For these, this is a little grub screw. Make sure you do not lose that. They're very easy to lose. I know this table is kind of a mess right now. Here's a little 2mm pin. Do not lose that. Set that aside. Now go straight to the other side. Do that. You should put Loctite on these. I did not put Loctite on mine. just for the reason sometimes the Loctite in this area of these tiny little grub screws, if they strip out, it's just a pain in the rear, so I just tighten them down by hand, and that's how I do it. But anyway, on these stock axles, if you tighten these bolts down too tight, I like them tight, but if you crank them tight, you can squish this actual housing together just a little bit, and it could cause this to not to spin freely. So just letting you know, just a quick note. So basically, you just take these off like so, and transfer them onto the other axle. Now keep in mind, you will need new grease to re-grease the new axle parts. So and this is a 5/64 2mm Allen to do these screws for these shock mounts and lower link mounts on the axle. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully we don't have to do any sanding on the axle to get it to bearings to fit seat correctly. When I hear that's what you have to do, I'm hoping they fix that issue, so that way we don't have to do it. You just take these little things off. You have to take this bolt completely all the way out. So just take them on both sides. There's one right here on the other side. So the reason why I did aluminum housings is to get a little bit of weight up front, you know. But like I say, so far I'm not really liking this crawler too much. I think my TRX4 is a far superior crawler. Maybe with some upgrades, which I don't know if I want to dump that many upgrades into an axle, you know, vehicle myself. I'd rather do it into Traxxas TRX4, which has potential. But anyway, slide these right off like so. Slide it right off. Now there's 5x11x4 bearings here, one here, one here, and one here. There's one right out on the inside here, and there's a bigger bearing. I'm not exactly sure the size. So, but yeah, you slide these axles out like so. They slide out nice and easy. You can leave those bearings on there. Let's get started with the now you'll have to reuse all your hardware. Like, I mean that by screws. All the screws you'll have to reuse. So for the new one, because new housing does not come with any screws or any hardware like that, which is fine. I mean, usually if you get the kit or if you get the RTR, the screws are usually in good shape, not stripped, but if they are stripped, you may want to consider replacing them at that time. Now, if your ball ends are starting to get worn, because if you get the RTR version, or if you got the kit version and you did not put metal ball ends in there and they're showing little signs of play, you may want to consider getting better ones, or maybe get new plastic ball ends to stick in there to freshen everything up, since you're already down there. So that's my suggestion. I would just get better rod ends. I got these rod ends. I think they'll be a lot better and than these ones. So, my opinion. Yeah, I would have built the kit with this axle if I had it when it came in, or when the truck came in, but I didn't have them at that time. So basically you just take out these 4 bolts here. Just like so. So there's 4 bolts, or screws, whatever you want to call it. This is the pinion gear right here. This is the pinion bearing, and there's an inner pinion bearing. So you just pop off this diff cover. Sometimes it can kind of be tight on there. This one is kind of being tight on there, which is a good thing. I'd rather have it be tight on there, but that's why you got a handy dandy X-Acto knife. Squeeze in that crack, kind of turn it, there you go. just like that. So you pop this off, slides right off. So, and this is the gear. The locker's right in here. The bearings, the ring gear, which is right here. This is the ring gear. These are the bearings to help support that locker. But it looks like I need to put some more grease on there because it came off. And these are the spiral cut. So, or helical cut, if you want to get technical about it. So what I do is I just push gently on that pinion gear. And you can gently push on that pinion gear again. And that all comes out. So really, you know, that's how I like to do it. You gently push on this bearing and this bearing will come out. Inner pinion bearing. Now I want to show you something here. I think it's kind of cool they did that. Traxxas did that too. But you got, this is the outer pinion bearing right here. And this is the inner one. So look at the size difference. Like look at the size difference compared to that. They're quite a bit. You know, the inner one's bigger than the outer ones to support the load. So the gear, this gear right here, doesn't support the load. So that way, when these gears are meshed together, it doesn't come apart and skip a few teeth. So, but yeah, this doesn't come apart like that. So it stays nice like how it should be. So, yeah, I think that's kind of cool that they did that. Now, let me get some grease rigs here. Okay, so got something to wipe down my hands with. So basically you got your plastic housing here. You're going to need to get these bearings out right here. You got everything else gutted. And I'm going to clean these parts in a parts washer with automotive parts solvent to make sure they're clean. So as you can tell, I don't hardly have any scratches. I only ran it one time. I got some scratches right there. But other than that, it's pretty much like a brand new axle. Anyway, but yeah. So moving on, just stick this. You can just kind of pry out these bearings like so. Now I may have to sand it. I won't show you me sanding the inner bearing journals on the new axle. If it needs to be sanded, I will not show that just because it may take some time, trial and error. So let's just hope that these are actually fitting in there nice like they should. Okay, that one went in there nice. This one out. Okay, so the two outer ones went in there nice. I like to see that. Okay, that's a good sign. I'm happy about that because I would like not to modify. You just stick this one in here. Pops in there nice and snug. Now let's see if we can get this one in there. Yeah, this one's being a little bit of a tight one. Maybe I'll press it in here. Hold on. That's a little too big, of course. Let's try my X-Acto knife. Yeah. Looks like I may have to sand that just a smidge. So let me pause the video and I'll come right back to you. Alright, back again. So sorry about that little pause there. Yes, you do have to tap this bearing in. It does fit. You don't have to grind anything. It does spin smoothly. Like it doesn't seem like it's binding up. It doesn't seem like it's tight or has a tight spot in it from when you spin it. That's another thing. Check it. I had to tap on there. I had to get my X-Acto knife and tap on it a little lightly. And I also got this socket, the back of the socket, the 7mm, is lightly pressed on the outside edge of the bearing. So if you have a bearing, let's see if I can show you. You just press on the outside edge of this race of the bearing if you have to tap it in, or try to find something that fits around that, like a socket that fits around there, and try not to damage your bearing. Now you can damage your bearing by tapping on it. Like, I don't know if this one's, if I damage it somehow and I just can't feel it right now, and then when I drive it under load, it blows up. I doubt it. It feels still really like smooth, like brand new, so I highly doubt that even happened. But yeah, just keep that in mind. You can damage it, so it's kind of like a shot in the dark. So anyway, I'm going to try to stick this pinion gear in here. I'm going to re-grease it, load it up with some grease here. Get some good old grease going on in here. Now I'm just using like a wheel bearing grease at the moment right now because that's what I have. I'm out of my marine grease, so this stuff's just as good though because it goes in wheel bearings on cars and stuff like that for front wheel drive or, you know, two wheel drive vehicles. Now it fits in there nice and easy. That bearing slid out. That's another good thing, is you didn't crack the bearing. That's a good sign. You don't want, you know, just slide that bearing in there, it slides in there just like so. You can take some more grease if you'd like, and take it and just kind of like jam it on in there. And jamming it kind of in on this side, because this is the side the ring gear is going to go on. So just so you know. I'm just trying to keep my hands clean so that way I don't get everything all greasy in here. Oops, sorry about that. So basically, you just take this, you can take all this grease on your locker, reuse it, because this is brand new, it only has one run on it. And turn it. Turn it. Now me, I'm not afraid to use grease myself. So I like to use grease. I actually would rather have it greased up because some people just barely put a couple drops of grease in there, or they'll put it in there dry. They won't put grease around this edge here. They'll sit there and put it in dry and then just pack grease in the front. How do you get grease around the back? So just keep that in mind. You know, yeah, you know, that's why they make paper towels or a rag or something. You know, you can still keep your hands clean. If some people are, you know, don't like grease all over themselves, or don't like to get grease all over anything, and I get it. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, who wants to get all greasy and stuff? But keep yourself organized. That's the key. So, then drop this in there like so. Make sure it fits in there. Okay. Now you can take these bearings, press them in there, and really make sure they're seated in correctly. And then just kind of lightly roll the pinion that spins smoothly. Yeah, it spins smoothly. Make sure they're seated in there. So, and you can take, for a good measure, you can take a little added grease and drop it in there. Now, some people may say I'm loading this up with too much grease. And me, honestly, it'll be fine. At least that way I know when this grease, and it'll get flung off the gear. This grease will be sitting right there, so that way at the bottom of here, it'll kind of always keep itself re-greased when it's heated up. So just keep that in mind. But that's the way I like to do it. Alright, so basically, what you do is you take your axle, slide it in through the center of the bearing there, find the locker, take your other axle for the other side, slide it right on in, find the locker's hole, and then slot, whatever you want to, you know, call it, stick it on through there. You can take your diff cup, and you could paint these whatever color. I was going to do a lime green, because that's kind of the theme of my rig, but I decided not to, because I actually really like the red. Because it kind of looks like a real rig if you want to do that extra mile of detail. But yeah, so you want to use some Loctite. Always use Loctite when you have aluminum on aluminum. And my axle just fell. Make sure it's clean, doesn't have any garbage or dirt on it or anything like that, or who knows on it. So clean it, wipe it off. Okay, so we got some Loctite. Take this, slide it in. So basically you got your axle assembled like that. I'm going to take and put Loctite on all these screw bolts. Just a little dab, that's all you need. You don't need to drench it, so you just stick them through. Now I'm not gonna lie, this axle feels pretty heavy now compared to the plastic one. You can definitely tell. You're definitely putting some quality metal pieces on. Now you don't want to over tighten this because this is not like really good quality high-end machined aluminum. It's kind of like that cast metal aluminum, you know. So just when you thread these, just get it tight, but don't, you know, man-hulk it tight because you will pull the threads on this aluminum. But it tightens up real nice so you can get it tight. So threads in there nice. When you start getting close, obviously it'll tighten up. Then you can take your axle housing and I like the screw to be facing down, the screw head. That's my personal preference. It doesn't really matter what way you have these. I just personally like the screw head facing down so I can flip the rig over and just do it, fix it, do a repair, whatever I need to do, which is necessary. Now this feels heavier quite a bit. Like this feels like a paperweight, or this feels like a paperweight. This feels like a feather, you know, like a piece of paper light compared to this thing. Like this actually has some weight on it. So you can turn this thing over like that, just like so here. Take these button head style 3mm screws. Make sure you got that fully seated in there. Start screwing them down. This is what keeps your bearings seated, your outer support bearings for your axle seated. So and you can get these in aluminum to kind of finish off your back and front end. You can get the C-hubs aluminum up front, and steering turn knuckles aluminum up front. You can get all that aluminum so it's all nice and done and, you know, done right. So basically that's your axle assembled. You can wipe down any greasy paw prints you may have on it, if you want to say it like that. And then you got the shock mount, shock and lower link mount. Now this has a little tab right here. This little tab, see if I can hold this so you can see it. See this little tab, lip, this on this right here? This tab faces up to the body, to where when the body's on, it faces up. Like you take this tab right here, obviously this screw will go on the outside, so it goes on the left side. So you just take it, you stick it in, and this may need some modifications to fit this on. They fit really tight on the stock axle, so I wouldn't be surprised if they fit tight on here. Oh, it went in for a second. Yeah, they're tight. I mean, like I say, these axles, they're pretty tight. Now you may need to take some pliers gently and pry them in. Possibly you may have to do that with these axles. Like I say, they ain't the best designed. Well, you can just scratch it. Or you could try maybe, let me try this way here. Where I scratch something. Brand new parts. Who likes to scratch them? So you could just take this, start threading it in the plastic, and then just kind of go back and forth and have it evenly tightening them. Yeah, there you go. That's the better way to do it. Just put these in, start threading them in the plastic, and then it'll evenly seat the shock mount. Kind of go back and forth, and it'll start sucking those in. And then it should look like that when it's done. So it looks nice, kind of finishes off the red front axle. And you could paint these green. I tried it, and for some odd reason the paint on the can I had must have been sitting at the hobby shop for a while. It didn't spray right. I shook it up for like 2 minutes and it didn't cooperate. So my I guess problem, bad luck. Ooh, whoops, dropped the axle. But yeah, my bad luck. So basically what I'm going to do is stick the bolts through, like so. Stick them on through. Just take this mount up like that. Or try to get it, try to maybe hold it and then get one started. If I can get both of them started, that would be nice. So you just start threading it, kind of hold it with one finger. It's kind of a pain. And this is just the way I'm doing it. Maybe, you know, I don't know all the tricks to this thing yet. But yeah, you just start threading it in. So now you got it started, you can let go. Start threading it in, and it'll pull itself into where it needs to be. So alright, and then basically you have your axle, your rear axle, assembled and ready to install into the vehicle. So that's pretty much everything for just the axle, not installing the links or anything like that. But these links with the bend right here, they go off to each side. They go right just like this. You just basically set them in like so, set them in like so, and then that's how it'll look, like the upper links. So in the rig, I got these ones off because I'm putting stuff on them. So anyway, but yeah, that's basically the axle install. Don't forget to put it on your hexes. Those are very simple to do. But yeah, it looks very nice. It peels very smooth. Everything fit in there without sanding anything. Thanks for watching. Alex RC Freak out. Peace.